Uh-oh. Welcome to Liquid Lunch.
Hello, Hugh.
Hello, Sandra.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Okay, so Hugh is eating a little bit of salad, and I thought it was rude to chew gum, but you're eating salad.
Well, once I finish chewing this mouthful, it'll be gone.
You know there's onions in there, right?
Onions are good for you.
I know.
In fact, they cure the plague.
And
Imagine.
I'm going to be cured too.
Of what? What? You came in today and you've got the plague?
No, because you have the onions. I'll be cured of everything.
That's
because
right.
I'm so close to you, and I can. It's almost like I'm tasting them now.
Wait a sec. Are they bothering you?
Not at all.
The onions?
No, but I have gum. I'll give you after.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh, so that does bother you?
No.
Does it have chlorophyll in it? Is it chlorettes with rets in?
No, it's dentine, I think.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. I hope it doesn't have aspartame in it. Does it?
Let's just not talk about that.
Cassandra,
I know.
I would be very surprised if you, of all people, were chewing gum with aspartame.
Okay, but you know, if you blast it before, it's all good.
Really?
Yes.
Well, okay, because that's what
I do.
that's what Drunvalo Melchizedek says. And I saw his brother turn into the devil once.
Wow. You know, that's a great topic for Halloween.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's right. It is Halloween coming
Yes. This Halloween is my favorite day of the year.
up. In the future, every day will be Halloween.
Did you know? I was brought up Roman Catholic.
Uh-huh.
And did you know that really they say Jesus' birthday is not December 25th?
I know.
When is it?
Well, people have different...
October 31st. I'm not kidding. That's what they think. My sister was born on Halloween, and they would not baptize her unless her name was Christine. I am not kidding.
Why? Because of
Christ.
Halloween.
Because in the name of Christ, because apparently Christ's birthday is really Halloween. They would not baptize. My mother did not want to name her Christine, but they would not let her.
That's very interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. And I know another person who was born on Halloween, very religious family, and she too is named Christine.
Well, that's interesting. No, because what I heard was that Jesus was a Virgo.
Which means
he would have been born in late August or early or the first part of September.
Maybe there's more versions of one Jesus.
It's interesting about Jesus. I can't believe we're talking about Jesus. We didn't plan this, but they say that in Egypt, in the hieroglyphs, there are depictions of the birth of Jesus. You know, all the same kind of symbols. The three wise men, all that in ancient Egypt. So maybe it's an archetypal thing.
Maybe it's more that than anything else.
Yeah.
And what does Jesus and Drunvalo Melchizedek have in common?
I don't know.
I don't either. I thought you would figure something out.
Well, we didn't even. I was just going to say that there's we should. I don't know if we can find it now, but apparently there's a video on YouTube that proves that Drunvalo Melchizedek is a reptilian alien shape-shifting hybrid.
For anybody who doesn't know who Drunvalo is, he's big with the Mayans, and he's big with the whole shift in transforming humanity. And apparently he's one of the blessed people with the Mayan elders to actually speak on behalf of the Mayans and bring their message to North America.
Right.
That's my understanding of who he is, and he's done many workshops and written many books. But there's a lot of controversy too.
Yeah.
Surrounding. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy surrounding Drunvalo as well.
Is there?
I mean, I think there will be with everybody. So really, it's up to each person to really decide for themselves. Well, unless, of course, you see them shapeshift, then.
Well, and we're going to try to pull up
obvious.
this YouTube Drunvalo, Drunvalo, and put alien shapeshifting hybrid Drunvalo. And
wow. So did you actually see that, Hugh?
No, I haven't seen it yet. So this is going to be a surprise. You know, we don't know what could happen here.
Wow.
But I did see his brother came to Toronto and did a talk up at the just up the street, one of the hotels. I didn't know he was Drunvalo's brother until years later. His name is, I won't say what his name is, but then I found out later. No, Melchizedek. Well, that sounds made up, frankly.
No, he actually took it. It actually means it's something to do with Christ consciousness. That Melchizedek is a term, a very, very ancient term.
I think Melchizedek
is
a character in the Bible, maybe Old Testament. I'm not sure.
And it signifies something. I don't know what. Yeah. But it's supposed to be ancient, and I think Drunvalo was given that name from...
Right. Well, from Drunvalo, once I got a thing, how to get ready for 2012, right? And one of the things is don't wear synthetic clothing.
Oh.
Right?
Well, what are you supposed to wear? Cotton?
Natural fabrics.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen is, because as the Earth transitions to fifth density, the man-made elements, man-made substances, and that could include anything from Kevlar to acrylic to nylon, anything made by
Satin,
DuPont.
polyester.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And also maybe things like plutonium, processed uranium.
But don't you think that if we do move to fifth density, okay, which I do believe that too.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's an actual timeline per se, but don't you think it would all just be taken care of?
Well, no. This is what what I'm saying is that on the transition and these artificial materials they just don't pass to the next level.
So you'd be naked?
If you're wearing synthetic fabrics, yes.
Oh.
You'd be naked in your Merkaba, right?
You'd be naked in your Merkaba.
In your Merkaba, you'd be naked, right?
But then we wouldn't be so. It wouldn't be so embarrassing because we'd be fifth density, so it really wouldn't matter anyway.
We
would
don't
it?
know for sure.
And then we could just create instantly, and so we could just create.
I don't know.
A new.
I'm wearing blue jeans that day.
Well, I'm thinking denim's good too.
Denim,
yeah,
cotton shirt.
Works for me. Cotton underwear. Everything has got to be. Okay. Just natural fabrics.
You're asking me to change my lifestyle.
Do we want to go there? That's a whole show in and of
Oh.
itself.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe we can have a show with just natural fabric guests. Hemp. That would be a good one.
Hemp?
Because we can eat it, we can wear it.
There's a few other things you can do with it, I understand.
Yeah. Ba-dum-bum.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Should we get busy with the show?
Absolutely.
We're gonna have a great show.
Some great guests here.
Did we get closure there about? Do we have the Drunvalo videos? Okay. Well, maybe we'll try to get that a little bit later in the show, just to prove that All right.
Wow, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
So we have to see if we can try and find it.
Yes, we
at
will.
any point during the show.
So we've got Ian Peters coming from the Department of Media and Ian Peters Agency coming in a little bit. Also, Neil Jain will be back on the show today talking about his networking event for professionals.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Alicia Pereira will be here, a marketing officer, and talking about child sponsorship.
Like overseas and that kind of?
We're going to find out all about it,
Wow.
Sandra.
That sounds really interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
I like things where it's give.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
But we're going to start the show off with National Post columnist Peter Kuitenbrouwer. As soon as we take this little break, we've got, who's the music today? I forget now there. Amy Thiessen from Calgary. Calgary's Amy Thiessen. She was here on the show a while back. She was in town.
Next time I'm a guest here, can we have a band?
I
have not been here when we've had a band yet. A live band in the studio.
We'll try to do that. We haven't had a lot of live bands lately.
Okay. Or just an acoustic thing.
Sure.
That'd be
Okay,
kinda
we
cool.
will try to do that, Sandra.
Sounds good.
Be great.
I would love to.
Okay.
I would love to be for that. Here for that.
So let's we're going to hear this track from Amy Thiessen, and we're going to come back with Peter Kuitenbrouwer right after this. It's like the lunch gets underway on a
drizzly
Wednesday. Yeah, it's nice.
Very drizzly.
It's dark out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was dark this morning.
It's getting ready for Halloween, setting the mood.
Yeah.
And the black, setting the mood.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll be right back.
We need a crystal ball.
Got an itch, flick a switch like a radio and tune it into something good, 'cause the static's thick and we've been sticking to a stereo with tired songs so misunderstood, and they don't sound that good. But when I open my eyes to a different reflection, and I open my ears we can find our tune.
The joy that it brings me, and I play my guitar for the love that I feel. And if I get caught up in how this world perceives me, will you tune in to something real, something that I can feel? Because it all goes around again. We'll all go around. We'll all go around again. Is your radio turned on? Is your radio turned on? 'Cause it's a beautiful song. Open our ears to a different view. We can recognize we are all just radios. Let the static clear and find our tune. Because it all goes around again. We'll all go around. We'll all go around again. Is your radio turned on? Is your radio turned on? Is your radio turned on? 'Cause it's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song. Got an itch, flick a switch like a radio and tune it into something good. It's been 5 months to saw you last. My heart's asking, where have you been? And now time runs into seconds, and your presence is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And outside the sunshine melts the snow on the street. I wanna drip down your body the moment our eyes meet. When you soak me in through your skin, I swim in a heart so light and so clear. And I could feel your love, feel your loss, feel your longing, feel like right now you don't belong here. Well, wait a minute now. This waiting's just weighing us both down. Wave goodbye in this town when you leave. We'll leave it on to our gravity.
I've ever seen is to love someone so much you can let them go. To gravity. To gravity. To gravity. I am a daughter of the sun, sister of the moon, transcended through the womb of supernovas and galaxies that are traced throughout my body like chalk written in space, only to be erased and written again as something new.
And we're back here on Liquid Lunch. A couple of tracks there from Amy Thiessen. And
Give Up the Fight. She is awesome.
See, look, isn't that good?
She's awesome. And I think the CD is actually all recyclable materials. It looks really,
What?
really good. The printing and stuff. She is wonderful. Love her.
You like that music?
Yeah, I really
Awesome.
do.
It's
She's really
great
good.
when people make a new fan just because of the
Amy,
serendipity.
I'm a new fan. Yes,
Yeah, there you go.
You're great.
Awesome. Okay. Hey, we're joined here now by Peter Kuitenbrouwer from the National Post. Peter, great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Hi, Peter.
So so how did you come to be a writer for the National Post?
Well, before we get to that, if you don't mind, can we back up, because I have no idea where I am or,
you
or
don't?
what is going on here.
Oh, okay.
I've got no background, so you might want to fill me in, and perhaps it would be a service to your viewers as well. I just really don't know anything. I mean, is this the future where everybody gets their own TV show because of the internet, or?
Yeah, think
like,
about what TV is for a minute. TV is technology that is the ultimate in what technology can do to create communication. Because before you had technology, you just had people talking to one another, sitting around a campfire, and then writing was invented. It was a technology for communication that allowed people to communicate with people in the future, because you write a book today that people can read in 100 years. And then after printing and the printing press was invented, then along came telegraph and radio, the first electric communication. And of course, radio, it's obvious that if you only have the voice, you want to have also the picture. So it's only natural that people would work towards developing something like television, which is, it's almost like being in the same room with someone, except you don't get the smells. But we're working on that here at that channel, the smell-o-vision. Just scratch your screen.
You might smell the onions.
You might.
You might. It's more interactive.
Yeah.
I think it's more
Well,
intimate. It's more.
It allows you to communicate with people in the future like print did, but you can do it as if you're speaking to a real person, not an abstract
Okay, but
language
I
on
mean,
the page.
TV's been around for 50 or 60 years. What I'm saying is that what we think of as broadcast is stuff that's either on over the air or via cable or what have you. I gather that what you guys are producing is a television channel that is on the broadcast or put out over the internet.
That's right.
And what is the purpose of it, or what's your vision for it?
Well, here, the thing is about television over the last 50 years, before the internet came along, was a medium that was really only able to be used by a very small percentage of the population that had lots of capital. It took lots of capital to put a television station together. So it was restricted. The people who could use television to communicate was limited to a very small percentage of the population.
Right.
And it was a one-way medium from the producers to the consumers of the information. Now with the internet, the whole dynamic of the internet is all about peer-to-peer. It's all about interactive communication. It puts everybody on an equal playing field. But television, the ability to communicate with voice and with images, it's only natural that everybody, once that is in the culture, it's only natural that everybody should be wanting to use that. It is, it's full bandwidth communication. So this is, as we move towards a world where the internet is the common delivery platform for all media, it's only natural that this kind of media would emerge and be available for everybody to use.
So, okay, thanks for that. Now, tell me, that channel, if you will, that media is a company of which you are the owner, or?
Well, we have a few. It's a corporation, so there's a few different people involved.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Right. I think that, well, one of my friends is an investor, I guess, and that's how
you got to be here.
Came to be a guest. Yes, and it's an honor to be here. I was just wondering. I mean, you have country music channels, you have cooking channels, you have boating channels. What is this all about? This particular channel?
Well, you know what? I'll give you an example. I actually had my own show for a while on that channel, and I was a guest like you, and then we got to talking, and then I ended up doing my own show here. So it gave me an opportunity to. This was a great platform for me to express my views and to cover the material that I wanted to cover for my show. And I also got great response, and it gave me an opportunity to immediately respond, and I got to, I met people from all over the world, and have actually, as a result of the show, a guy in Ecuador is actually translating the material into Spanish, and that's all because he's seen the show. So for someone like me who wouldn't have access to an ABC or a CBC or something like that, this was a great vehicle for me, and I also have it to refer to as well. It's like a resume in a way too. Mm-hmm. So it's been wonderful in that sense. So I think it's kind of, I think it's for anybody who has something to say and who wants to get that out there, has a message to deliver, and it's a very effective way of doing that.
Sandra, what is your line of work, if I may be, or do you have an expertise or a line of work?
Well, it's very spiritual based. What I was doing is very spiritual based and very alternative, and certainly something that, and it's psychological. I call it a psychosophy. It's like a psychology and a philosophy put together, and it's not something that is mainstream. It's not something that would be accepted by mainstream.
Got it.
But Hugh is not mainstream.
No, I'm mainstream.
Well,
I'm the new mainstream.
Exactly. Thank you. You are exactly. So yeah. So it really. It got to. It got to so many people. So yeah, it's spiritual based. It's about changing your life and that kind of thing. But so it gave me the opportunity. We went through a lot of course work and that kind of thing, and we had a panel, and so we got to ask questions, and then people would write in, and I did it every second week, and people would write in, and I would respond to some of the comments the week after. Whereas mainstream TV, you don't get that. They'll once in a while read a reader, but it's way down the line, and the team is so big, you kind of get lost in the shuffle. A lot of people don't even want to respond to like a Larry King because it's too big, but something like this, it gives you the opportunity to actually be more interactive, more immediate, more intimate. So I think that, and also you get to choose what you want to watch. Whereas with mainstream TV, you have no choice. Even with all the cables, with all the cable, there's still a lot of things that people just don't want to watch.
I mean, Peter, I don't know if you have this experience, but you're at home watching cable TV, and you're flipping around, and there's so much crap on it. You can't find really anything you want to watch 90% of the time. That Bruce Springsteen song says it all. But
everything I watch is online now.
Yeah,
I don't even watch TV.
But you can watch stuff that will never be on TV.
Yeah.
You've got complete unlimited choice.
Also, the other point I wanted to make was I think that the viewers are becoming far more sophisticated. Audiences are far more sophisticated, and I think mainstream TV is just too dumbed down for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, and they have to, because of the whole business model of regular television. They have to go for the. They have to figure out where the cost of providing the content meets the revenue from advertisers.
So what's your business model?
I can't talk about that on the air. It's highly. We're in league with Space Brethren. They've harnessed that Diamond Star.
Secret society stuff.
What?
High secret society stuff, but not shape-shifting.
No, we have it's a very normal business model that we took a long time to develop.
Great. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, but it's here we are.
Excellent.
That's great. Okay. What was that question you asked Sandra though that she answered? Because I wanted to answer it too, but I forget what it was.
No,
it's okay. I'm glad you did. But
I just asked her what her profession was.
oh no, before that though, I think. Anyways, that doesn't matter.
Oh, maybe we'll think
See?
about that. I
Yeah.
don't know. See, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone.
Well, and may I just say that, I mean, you guys certainly have a great location. I mean, this is a killer building, and I love the whole gestalt of it, the stairway, and does the elevator actually come?
Oh, you didn't get a ride in the elevator?
No, I rang the elevator bell, and then I thought, this looks a little bit like it's going to take a while.
No.
It's supposed to be here for noon, so I took the stairs, which
yeah.
are also cool.
Well, you should try the elevator.
Yeah, anybody
on
who
the
comes
way.
as a tourist to Toronto needs to come here just to ride the elevator.
Yeah.
It's
does-
part of a tourist attraction for
It reminds
Toronto.
me of Montreal. It's kind of like a Montreal.
Are you a
style
Montreal guy?
building. Well, I grew up in Quebec, not Montreal, but I did spend a lot of years in Montreal. And when we founded a paper back in the 80s called the Montreal Mirror,
Mhm.
and we rented some space in an old walk-up right in old Montreal, and it kind of reminds me of this.
Well, see, you got that in Montreal. You got all that older section and stuff, and you don't. I mean, everything in Toronto is so new.
Yeah, well, this
And,
has survived.
This
Yeah,
one survived
yes.
so far, but it's this one's going to go one of these days. They're building all around us. They're building across the street. Canadian Tire's new. I mean, this is Bay Street. I mean, it's sad, but it's probably just going to, they won't recognize it as a historical building, sadly. Although I like what they're doing now with a lot of the buildings where they're keeping the facade, the old building, and they're building structurally so that the street still has the old look. There's quite a few buildings like that now.
They're trying to keep the
In Toronto.
character.
They're doing what they can in Toronto, which lacks
That's
a lot
good.
of historical.
It does. It does. It does.
I'm not a fan of facadism, actually, myself.
No.
They took down a building across from McGill, I remember, and put up a new 30-story building. This is back in the 80s again, and rebuilt the facade on it. And somebody remarked that, after they had done that, it was as though it was worse than having demolished it, because in fact, even you couldn't even have the memory of the building of what used to be there, because now there was the old building but transformed in such a way, and with the way they changed the glass in the windows, it looked like a dead person with no life in the eyes.
Wow.
Anyway, there you go.
Wow.
That's interesting, but.
So how did you become a writer for the National Post?
Well, I was there when it started in 1998, because I was with the old Financial Post. And when Conrad Black bought the Financial Post to roll it into his newspaper, he put all the staff of the Financial Post became National Post employees. So that was in '98, and then I decided to stick around as a reporter, originally just continuing as a business reporter, and then wanted to get into local news, because that's really where my passion is.
Oh wow.
And
that's quite a change, though.
Yeah,
From business to
yeah,
local.
and it took me years. And every time the National Post went through a financial crisis, they would always move me back to the business pages. So I've done a number of years, or a number of stints in the financial pages, and I seem to get back. I've been now for a number of years the Toronto columnist, so I get to write about local news.
So how's the National Post doing? How are any of these papers doing? By the way, I just got to tell you, I used to write for the Women's Post.
Did you really?
Yeah, and
Wow.
I used to work at the Toronto Sun.
Oh, huh. What did you do
As-
there?
No, don't ask. But
Okay, no,
anything they
because
ask
we
me.
had
He's got a lot of secrets.
we had our when I started at the Financial Post, it was in the Sun Building, at 333 King
that was
Street East.
before I was there. Maybe it wasn't.
I was there in 1997, 98.
Okay, I think I was there.
Yeah.
That's when I
Wow.
started there.
So you guys were working in the same building? Is it
Good,
possible?
there's a good smell
Wow.
in that building. Speaking of smells,
Is it because they had the printing presses right in the
it
building,
was the
right?
smell of newsprint and ink.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is and that I always loved because it's the same smell at the old Gazette building in Montreal where I used to work, where we also had the printing presses in the building, and especially you could go by at 1 in the morning and get the next day's paper from the back from the loading docks, which I always liked. I liked
That's
the
cool.
smell of a fresh newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a true reporter and journalist when you like that
Well,
smell.
I got to say, honestly, I was never a big fan of the Sun, even though when I was a kid I delivered the Telegram, if you can believe that, which is the forerunner of the Sun, really. And but just not a big fan of the way that the Sun did things until I got to work there. And once I started working there, there was a great vibe in the building. The people were awesome, and it was a lot of fun. But it's sad to see what's happened. I mean, that building, you drive by 333 King now, and the whole first floor is empty, and it just looks like I know that the staff has just dwindled there, and they're a shadow of what they used to be.
Well, you've got the no frills there where the printing presses used to be. So if you go in, I guess is that Front Street, the south side, is now a no frills. I mean, maybe that's just, I don't know, it's evolution. I like you, have a great problem with, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I have a problem with change, and and therefore I identify with what you said about the sadness of it. On the other hand, as you say, no old media gives way to new media, of which I guess your TV show is an example. I'm a bit of a Luddite. I like a newspaper. I've discovered, by the way, that the Metropolitan Hotel, which is about 2 blocks over here, just south of Dundas, they have piles of Globe and Mails there. So rather than be a subscriber, I just stop on the way to my office and pick one up.
Well,
Makes me happy to have it in my hand.
Yeah, well, I think people will always like that. But I think that the newspapers need to really wrap their head around the new media, and I think part of the problem is with them that they are, they're thinking we're a newspaper and we need a web presence. I think that really the way to go about thinking about it from a business point of view in this environment is you got to start out with a web-centric. You got to start out being web-centric, and then you have to conceive of your hard copy to support that.
It's interesting. I mean, that certainly dovetails with what Paul Godfrey, who's the CEO of Post Media, the chain that now owns the National Post, the Ottawa Citizen, the Montreal Gazette, the Vancouver Sun, the Calgary Herald, the Edmonton Journal, all the big papers in Canada are owned by that chain, apart from the ones in Toronto. And they have this digital first sort of philosophy, they call it now. And I can identify with that, I guess, to a certain extent. Although, it's interesting because just last week, the editors asked me to get onto Twitter. So I now am on Twitter, for what it's worth, everybody out there. But, the fact of the matter is that I don't get it. And I asked this guy, Jeremy Barker, who works for the paper in the IT, or not the IT, but sorry, the online guy, how does Twitter make money? He has no idea how they make money. And then the question becomes, well, how do we make money if we're paying all of our journalists? Because I believe there are, almost all the journalists in town are now on Twitter. So they're sitting there tweeting all day long. But who's making money off of that? You have to be careful with these new mediums. And it's all very great to say, oh, yeah, we're on the web. But, let's not forget that, just in sort of rough numbers, very rough, because I don't want to give away trade secrets, more than 3/4 of the revenue of my paper comes from the print. edition, the ads that are in the print edition. That's where the money comes from. So let's not like lose sight of the revenue streams as we embrace new media.
But can't you just have online on the web? With the web presence, you can have online advertising just as you would have it in the paper, and the money could come from that.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can. But the fact is that if you look at the way things are going, I mean, it's all very well, as I say, to embrace new media. But the truth of the matter is that the print media is where the revenue is flowing right now. That's
right.
where it's...
Well, which is, I believe that's still a holdover from the, the pre-web newspaper environment. And so, and I think, I mean, my answer to that would be that, yeah, nobody really knows how Twitter's making money, but Twitter's hoping that, at some point they have so many users, somehow they'll be able to leverage that.
Yeah, I don't think Twitter's making money yet.
Into a revenue stream.
Yeah.
I mean, the same with the, it's like we've seen an inversion. I mean, I think people have to think really big about what this internet world needs, because...
And really differently.
Well, yeah. And because one of the things that is my observation is that we've moved now from a world where content of any kind was scarce. Content, whether it's a TV show, radio show, movie, article in a newspaper, or book, to a world where content is so abundant, and where the thing that is in short supply is people's attention span, that we really, it's an inflection. We are past the inflection point. So we have to really wrap our heads around, and this is why I mean, there's a lot of writers, for example, the Metro, those writers, I don't even think they get paid, right? Because people are willing to, and are anyway, they're creating content, whether it's written content or any kind of content. I mean, another example, I don't know how many books are published every year, and more people are doing self-publishing, and it's just, there's so much content. It's not, it's you got to think about, now content is abundant, attention spans are short. It's almost like you need to pay the people to read the articles.
No, I think that's kind of true, but on the other hand, look at Stieg Larsson and the girl with the dragon tattoo. Sold 60 million books, and this is in the age of the internet. So, it's funny, like somebody said that actually the small in the future, like the small books might do better and the huge blockbusters do great, but things in the middle get crunched by that actual sort of, I'm probably in over my head, but that sort of relationship tends to, like the splitting or sort of diversifying, as you're talking about, of all of these sources of information. I think that ultimately people end up needing credible arbiters to tell them what to pay attention to.
Okay.
And you end up with actually Stieg Larsson.
Well, that's wait, you end up with Stieg Larsson because enough of these aggregators
because
have
people are
recommended
looking
him?
for a good book, and everybody says this is a good book, and then everyone reads the same book.
I think that is an important role to play. These people, I mean, who was that guy? I saw him on Colbert. He was decrying how our culture is suffering now because because there are no gatekeepers, cultural gatekeepers, like publishers anymore. Now anybody can publish a book. So he's saying that our culture is suffering as a result. I disagree with that, but I think that there is a role, and what you're saying, there is a role for somebody can do the gatekeeper role or the recommending role and recommend to other people what kind of cultural things there are out there.
Isn't this kind of like, remember when independent bands and the whole independent music scene came on, and there was a real concern excuse me, by major labels and they tried to force the independents kind of out of the way, and they, the whole a lot of artists came up and put music up online for free and then started to get the audience that way. And I remember the mainstream music were really, really threatened by it, and it seems to have kind of found its way. I don't hear much about it now, so maybe newspaper is kind of in that kind of transition too, where the online is more for independence, more for local, more for the smaller voice, even though it can reach to the other part of the world based on the content of the material. But it will find its way. Although I think it's a transition period. I think that in 20 years from now, I don't know, or 50 years from now, I'm not sure that there will be print. I don't know how we can justify killing all those trees when there's alternatives now. So people may not go to print just for that reason alone.
Well, you know what? If you're going to get to me on the environmental side of this, and I'm going to get on my own high horse, because we've got a lot of electronic and electric equipment plugged in this studio right now. There is a lot of juice being sucked off the grid for this particular piece of real estate in Toronto right now, and almost half of our power comes from nuclear power in Ontario.
But how about
so
the
that
actual
means that
trees, the actual paper?
You are manufacturing media today using nuclear power.
But we're pro-nuclear here at that channel.
Okay, that's awesome, and and I think that as long as we're pro-nuclear, I think we can be pro-newspapers too. Because
Well,
the fact is that, yeah, that's true. We cut down trees.
Okay, wait.
We make newspapers.
I want to. I think, first of all, I do think that there is a role for newsprint, and there will be. Right, but it's going to be challenging for newspapers to.
I just don't think that the fact is everybody's like, oh yeah, great, I can read my book on my tablet or what have you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Well, you need batteries. You need to plug that sucker into the wall. Guess what? My book, my notepad, I don't need batteries.
Well, I'll tell you. First of all, they can make
no batteries for this either.
They can. Plus, they can make newspapers out of hemp, which they can, if they just legalized it, would allow farmers all over the country to prosper.
And there you go.
Prosper.
And there you go. Maybe it can be sustainable.
Of course, it can be sustainable.
Resources, right?
That's
the
good.
thing.
Yeah,
and then,
or corn. I have a mug made out of corn.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
do you
coffee
really?
mug.
Can you eat it?
I have a shirt. I have a shirt made out of soy.
Really?
I have a golf shirt made out of soy. Isn't that amazing?
But I want to say about the nuclear thing. Because there are going to be alternative power systems out there. They've already got the water-powered car. Well, if you can run a car on water, you can run a car. You can generate electricity with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they might be able to come up with some sort of paper-like substance that is not cutting down trees. Who knows?
Well, hemp.
There you go. Yeah,
or
exactly.
take the leaves in the fall. This is my idea. When the
that's a
leaves
good
fall
idea.
off the trees in the fall, instead of just giving them to the city to landfill, send them to the paper companies.
Well, in fairness, I mean, as
colored
you
paper.
know, they don't go to landfill now these days, because that's why the city has forbidden people from putting them in plastic bags. They put them in paper bags, then they pick them up with a truck and they take them for composting.
Even better.
So, I mean, they are getting, but I do like your idea. It's a nice idea. It's a fun idea. And it would be neat to see if there was any merit to it.
Can you imagine? The paper companies would probably pay for those leaves, right? So people could get paid for raking up their own leaves.
It's like, when you return the beer bottles.
Yeah, it's even better than that. Just think about how much that is. How much leaves there are.
And then you can have colored paper and not even have to use any kind of dye.
There you go.
Right? In the fall, you could have all these beautiful colored.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice.
Yeah.
So
I'm all good with it.
See, we're all friends here, Peter. There's a room for newsprint. There's a room for this new media.
As long, look at the brainstormer. Look at the kind of ideas you come up with. When you say, okay, you create the idea, you bring the problems out, and then you create the solution. It's all good, because it's totally possible.
Yeah. Okay, Peter. Anything else you want to?
Nope.
Are we good?
Thanks for welcoming me onto that channel.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming in. Now, before we go, let's tell people when and where and how they can read your column, your articles in the National Post.
Well, good old-fashioned, go to your local newsstand and plunk down a couple bucks and buy a copy of the National Post. I'm in the Toronto section most days.
Okay.
Working on a big piece this week, which is about a lawsuit by a film studio that is suing the city of Toronto, saying that there's a subsidy to their competitor. And I actually was just down in the basement of 361 University, the courthouse, this morning, pulling out the box, which is probably about 20 or 25 pounds. And nobody's actually written about this yet, but it is interesting. You're in the media business, to ask about the question I'm not taking a side here, but the city of Toronto, in its wisdom, a number of years ago, decided to fund a company to build a big film studio down in the port, which is now called Pinewood Toronto. And what's happening is that some of its competitors, including Cinespace and Showline, which are the two other film studios in town of any significance, are quite concerned about the fact that they contend that their competitor is getting a subsidy from the city and making it more difficult for independents to compete with that monolith. So that's what I'm writing about. So, you know, nationalpost.com if you insist on reading us on the web. And there's another website. If you go to postedtoronto.com, that's where we aggregate all of our local news stories.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Peter, thanks for doing this, and
Good luck with the story.
thanks to
Thank
Don
you.
Gavelos for introducing you to the station.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, so let's just take a little break. We're going to come back. Neil Jane is in the house, and we're going to talk about the networking event and other groovy stuff
Excellent.
as we come back here on Liquid Lunch for a Wednesday. We'll be right back.
Up again, swallow it down with another distraction. God knows, tying up my brain again, rectify this into action. Do 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 do. And everybody acts like they got it all under control. Everybody knows they don't got a fucking clue. And everybody thinks, 'cause that's what we do. 'Cause that's what we do, 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 do. And it's raining in my head. It's raining in my head. It's raining in my head. Again. Do 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 do. Can't pretend you're the answer I've been looking for. Swirl around in mirrors here instead. Can't pretend I know what's in your head. And it hurts when lucidity is fading. It hurts when I'm high and paranoid. It hurts every time I think about that boy. And it's raining in my head. It's raining in my head. It's raining in my head. Again. Do 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 do. Oh, it's raining, it's pouring, it's raining, it's pouring down. It's raining, it's pouring, and I keep falling down. It's raining, it's pouring, it's raining, it's falling down. It's raining, it's pouring, and I keep falling. It's raining in my head. It's raining in my head. It's raining in my head. It's raining, it's pouring, it's raining, it's falling down. It's raining, it's pouring, and I keep falling down. It's raining, it's pouring, it's raining, it's falling down. It's raining, it's pouring, and I keep falling. fucking clue. And everybody thinks, 'cause that's what we do. Too twisted between my thighs. Your head is missing. Was I hypnotized or was I just not listening? You got better things to do. Well, the perseverance of the stage is raging. Don't wanna face my heart still aching 'cause I loved your taste, but got addicted to the craving. And I got better things to do than think about the sweet satisfaction of your distraction and pour salt in the wound. I try to wrap myself around a world that I watch collapse, so I fold into the curtains where I relapse, just like I always do. Thinking about the sweet satisfaction of your distraction and pouring salt in the wound. Sip in the sweet satisfaction of his distraction, and though I might be wrong, the sweet satisfaction of his distraction, the sweet satisfaction of his distraction. And though I might be wrong, hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah, hey. Mother, hear us pray. Hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah. Lead us home to grace. And when we have forgotten
And we're back on Liquid Lunch, and it's me, Hugh, and Sandra's here, and we're joined here at the table by Neil, Jane, and Paulina Lysy from the, what do you call it? Networking Toronto, Neil? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, we call it Networking for Entrepreneurs and Freelancers, and we host it in Toronto, so yes, Toronto-based.
So it's for freelancers and networkers, entrepreneurs in Toronto, which is, I don't know, I think that's where the whole economy is going. Really, everybody is, has to be entrepreneurial.
Yeah, you got to fend for yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So now you guys, this is coming up on November 8th. I went to, did I go to the last one or did I miss
That's
one?
right.
You went to the last one that was
Okay.
held in August, and we host this every quarter, so it's
Okay.
Networking for Entrepreneurs and Freelancers, and it's held in downtown Toronto. And November will be our 2-year celebration, so our second year anniversary that we've been running this event. And so Tuesday, November 8th is when we're hosting the next
Great.
one.
Well, I hope it's not raining like it was I think the last time, the one I went to in August.
Was
it
it?
was pouring rain that night. I had to walk around with the newspaper.
Can't control the weather, but we can control the quality of the attendees.
That's why it's inside. It's like the
Yes.
Sky Dome kind
Yeah.
of thing, where
And
you can. You don't
Near
have
the
to
Sky
worry.
Dome.
Yeah.
We're not too far.
Actually,
from the Sky
yeah,
Dome.
that's true.
Now, and that brings up an important point, because you guys putting this networking event together, it's kind of controlled to a certain extent. It's not just wide open to anybody. You guys have a certain specific focus. And do you want to talk about what that focus is and why it's so important?
Yeah, I think the background for this event, just if I can go back a couple of years when we started this event, I was starting my own business and I was trying to figure out the whole process of doing it. How do I set up my business? How do I, find my customers? How do I build a product? How do I know who my target market is? And these were all questions for me, and I couldn't find easy answers to them. And I couldn't find networking events where I could meet people who have been there, done that. And so I thought, hey, why not start an event where we can get people together that are like-minded? Some maybe at an earlier stage, some that have progressed further along. And get these people together and have some good conversations between people that have been there and people that need to go where the more experienced people have been. So that's kind of the root of how this formed. And getting to your question in terms of the quality of the people that attend, what we try to do is make sure that the people that attend are truly entrepreneurs or truly freelance professionals. That is, they've put themselves on the line in order to make a buck. It's not that they're working for a major corporation or they're working for a multi-level marketing company and they don't need to do any marketing on their own. They actually need to do everything themselves, whether it's sales, marketing, hiring people, figuring out target market, all that good stuff.
I guess because anybody can say they're an entrepreneur. So what kind of criteria do you look for? Like, how do they prove themselves?
What we do is we have on our registration page, we ask people to tell us what it is that they do that's considered entrepreneurial or freelance. And we find that that's a really simple bar for people to step over. If you're truly an entrepreneur or freelance professional, it'll take you a minute to type in what it is that you do. If you're not, then you're just gonna skip it and probably not register. So we find that eliminates the people that are not truly entrepreneurs and freelance professionals. So once we get that response in the registration, then we do a bit of checking on LinkedIn or on a person's website to make sure that that person we think would be a good fit. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about kind of the criteria once someone sends in their registration.
Well, I think the most important thing is that we attract people who are, kind of quality people, as we call it, that would be able to share or have interest in learning at the event from other people. So that's really the goal that we try to achieve, and it's been working in the past, so we sort of continue with it.
Have you turned people down after having received the application and checked them out? Have you actually said, I'm sorry, no?
We have, and in a lot of cases it's people that are doing multi-level marketing. So their sole purpose for attending a networking event is to recruit other people. And that's not the purpose of our event. We want people to learn about the skills that that you need to sell your product, to market your service, to get financing, to have a mentor. Those are, I think, all critical steps for an entrepreneur or freelance professional. So for those reasons, yes, we've turned down people that are involved in multi-level marketing, that just want to recruit people, that exclusively work for large businesses that don't have their own business or their own freelance work.
And what kind of people come to these events? Entrepreneurs in everything? And freelancers, I would guess freelance graphic designers, writers, actors.
Absolutely, yeah. We've been pretty fortunate, I think. We've had a wide diversity of industries represented at our events right from the very start. All the way from that you mentioned, graphic designers is a popular one. People that are involved in marketing online is another popular one, freelance marketing professionals. And then entrepreneurs of various different stripes. So people that are involved in media, in renewable energy, in financial services, in technology companies. So wide variety of industries. And I think that's what makes the event so interesting, is that people come from different perspectives and are able to speak to the same challenges across different industries.
I think it's really interesting when you've got so many people now that are really, as you say, forced to kind of do it on their own. But people's creativity is so awesome that you're bound to, if you go to this event or any of these events, run into somebody that's doing something that you may never have thought of. And what a great opportunity to just learn something new, and maybe something you can apply in your own
It's so
business.
true. To give you an example, we had a guy, I think it was 2 or 3 quarters ago, who has been on Dragon's Den. A number of people who've attended our event have been on the Dragon's Den show. I'm sure
Interesting.
everyone's familiar with Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
A guy who designed the skate where you don't actually need to take off your shoes. You can just put your shoe right into the skate, and it's I forget the technology, but it's like you stand on it and you're just skating away. It was really kind of a cool thing to see. So talking about creative ideas, that was just cool. He came out and he demonstrated it for us. It was.
I would think too that the energy in the room would be there'd be a buzz, because everybody would be really excited. For me, the idea of entrepreneurs are people who have great ideas. Even if they're not so great, they're really passionate. So you're talking about people who will be very, very passionate about what they do.
Open to ideas, yeah.
And the freelancers would probably be very creative because they're doing their own thing. So it actually gives people a chance to really explore. So I think, to your point, and to our discussion earlier with Peter, it really is the new way to go. I think we're moving into these more niche kind of roles where people are finding their own way instead of working for huge companies and they're just being a number. People are kind of finding, this really encourages people to find their way, and you get to affect each other and kind of rub off on each other. That's a very cool place to be. I would think that'd be very exciting.
We try also to stimulate the discussion a little bit. So at the beginning of each event, we have a little formal part to it about, lasting about 15 minutes.
Yep.
Where we have a speaker, usually it's an entrepreneur with his experience, just sharing what they managed to achieve at certain areas. So this quarter it will be marketing and how to market products in creative ways. So it will be an entrepreneur person speaking about the topic, and that kind of creates ideas that other people pick up later and discuss among themselves.
So it's educational as well, because you can pick up ideas on how to market your product.
And it's very motivational as well.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So do you know who the speaker's going to be for this one, November 8th?
Yeah, it's going to be Stephen Litt. And Stephen is a partner. He's a managing partner at a company called Spitfire Global that he started a number of years ago. Very experienced marketing and strategy guy. And he's going to be talking about creative ways to market, as Paulina talked about. Because for small businesses, for entrepreneurs, for freelancers, marketing is not the first thing you think about. You think about your service and your product and how do you make it the best product it can be. But the other part of that equation is how do you actually get customers. So Stephen's going to be talking about creative ways to in a way go up against larger companies, established players, and how do you get the word out about your product or service.
Now let's find out a little bit about, because you guys are both entrepreneurs too. And
That's
you
right.
wouldn't, in fact, you probably wouldn't be allowed to go to these networking
Yeah, we
events.
wouldn't qualify.
And Paulina, I'm just curious, what's your oeuvre?
I co-started with a company called Southern Exposure Renewable Energy, and we are in renewable energy business. So we started with putting up solar installation photovoltaics, and we've been doing it for almost 2 years now, and we hope we can keep going with
Wow.
it.
Well, that's pretty cool. Are you involved in the, just curious, with this, because in Ontario there's these tax credits to get you to put your solar on and then you can sell it back to the
That's
grid
right. Yes,
add-on.
there's many government incentive, and without it, really, the business wouldn't be really working, and the renewable energies wouldn't.
Right.
Really, it's still the cost of the capital is too high,
Mhm.
so you need that. But hopefully, with time and with more innovation, we will be able to be sustainable.
In a subsidy-free environment?
That's right.
Okay. Now, like, who are the? I'm just curious, since you're here, but who
Sure.
are the target customers for your business, Southern Exposure?
So we are looking. So we install. Our engineers really can install on any surface. So we talk about photovoltaic panels that generate electricity, and we do use the government incentive where you can hook yourself to the grid and sell the electricity there. And we can do it on any surface, but we really target rooftop surfaces of larger buildings, like commercial or industrial. So it would be warehouses or maybe larger office buildings or anything really, mainly outside of the cities, like, with high buildings, so they don't obstruct the sun.
What about? Does it make sense? I know economic sense even with the subsidies for residential units in the city.
Yes, it does make sense. Yes, so you can do it. We usually stay away with that, but there are installers who do that. It would be smaller systems where you can do that, and there's actually a lot of people who do that, and are very happy with it.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
I'm just curious. What would the say for a residence in Toronto
Okay.
who was thinking about doing this? What's the initial capital outlay that they would need to come up with?
So it depends on the home, but let's say, I don't know, you would need probably on a house, it would be up to maybe 5 kilowatt system, and the cost would be $6 per 100,000. What?
Oh,
Just
so
trying to calculate that.
yeah.
So it's $30,000.
So really, so residences should
$30,000.
contemplate this.
That's
This
right,
is
yes.
and then it breaks even after how long? That's a
when do you
detailed
start
question.
to break even?
Yeah, it breaks even after a couple of years.
Couple of years. See,
Wow.
that's awesome, isn't it?
That is awesome.
All right.
And the program lasts for 20 years, so you actually end up making money on it after.
Yeah.
And so,
After.
and the government will subsidize?
Yes, so you sign a contract with a government where government guarantees you to purchase the power from you for 20 years.
At a guaranteed rate.
So whatever you produce,
matter what
they
the
will buy
market's
from
doing.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
the rate is guaranteed. So you know what you will be earning.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it really is.
It's to kickstart the whole solar, the green economy here
so
in
why
Ontario.
don't I hear more about this?
I heard about it. Okay, and Neil, what's your business?
Well, I have a small business called Money Life Skills, and I've been on your show to chat about a little bit about it before. I'm a fee-only financial consultant, which means that I provide advice to people on things like investments and cash flow. Mostly, I would say 30-somethings. My clients are mostly 30-somethings in Toronto that either live or work in downtown Toronto. And just helping them navigate through some of the tough financial decisions that you go through in that period of your life. So whether it's buying a home or saving for kids' education or saving for your own retirement, these are all important decisions that people make. And so I help people in a completely unbiased way, and I think affordable, to help them make better decisions, make more confident decisions.
And I think the
in their
fee-only
finance.
thing is relatively new, but it's a really important development in financial services because you've got no conflict of interest, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I was at a financial planning symposium put on by the Financial Planning Standards Council last week. And, I couldn't find, maybe there was one or two other fee-only advisors in that room of, 200 financial professionals. So the industry is very far away, I think, from accepting fee-only as a as a legitimate type of advice. It is happening in other countries, I think, as I mentioned last time, in Australia and the UK, where they're separating advice from commissions. So the whole conflict of interest is that you're providing advice on financial products at the same time you're selling those financial products. So there's an inherent conflict of interest. And some advisors think it's okay as long as you disclose that information.
So what does this fee only do then?
Fee only essentially means you would come to me for advice on, say, let's say you're starting to save for retirement and you need advice with investments. I would provide you with advice on investments, but I wouldn't actually sell you those investment products. So I'd provide you with recommendations on how to set up your portfolio.
You're an actual consultant. You don't actually do the buying or the...
That's right.
But see, with the other guys that aren't fee only, they say buy this stock, and they make a commission when that stock is sold. So they or bought. So there's a conflict of interest there.
Okay, so it's like the doctors who recommend the newest pain medication, prescribe the new pain medication because they're getting a check by the pharmaceutical company.
Right.
For every.
It's like Neil is the naturopathic doctor of the financial world.
There you go.
That's good. Can I use that?
Yes.
See, we should be attending this networking for entrepreneurs and freelancers and creative ideas.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this one's all about,
ideas.
is all about the creative ideas. And so now I can say, what I liked about the event the last time was that it is a small group, and there is a bit of a formality to it, a bit of a structure to it. So, for people like myself who are, a little shy,
Very.
I like to have that structure. It's because it's, everyone gets a chance to get up in front of the group and have a little bit of a say, and then everybody knows what everybody else is doing. And it was a well organized event.
Yeah, thank you.
And now, are you limiting it to a certain number of people?
We haven't really had a maximum cap. The room that we usually have the event in has a limitation. But we have thought about expanding. We don't really have a long-term strategy for the event. We think it's been running successfully. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback, and we just want to keep repeating that. We've had a good mix of people that are regulars, so they keep attending every quarter, as well as new faces. So I think that helps in terms of, to keep it fresh, and also for the people that keep coming back, it's kind of a checkpoint for them. 90 days, what have you been up to?
That's great. It's part of that whole. It's community building, right? And
yes.
I think marketing as we move forward needs to be kind of about community building.
And the cost. What is the cost?
So
It's free.
Yeah. So there is no charge.
That's
You can order your own appetizers and drinks. Because it's our 2-year celebration, we might supply some brownies. There might be some balloons. As well. So those are on the house.
We should also mention it is in Jack Astor's at John Street in Toronto.
Yeah.
So that's where it'll be.
Right down by the big Scotiabank Theatre,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah.
That's the
Awesome.
Is that on what street at Jack Astor's?
John
On
Street.
John Street, right?
John Street,
Okay,
yeah.
John Street.
On
okay.
the east side of the street.
That's right.
Okay, and if people want to register, Neil, where do they go to do that?
Yeah, so the website is networkingtoronto.eventbrite.com. Eventbrite is the service provider we use for people to register our event and for all the event details.
And Bright is spelled
BRITE. Thanks for pointing that out.
Like Light Bright, remember?
yes, Light Bright.
So people can go onto that site. Please read the details of about the event and then register. If we can make
And if
that
you're into multi-level marketing, don't apply.
If you're into multi-level marketing and that's the only thing that you do and you're only there to recruit people, that's not what we're looking for. There are people that have legitimate multi-level marketing business that they're doing, but they also have another thing that they're doing that's entrepreneurial or freelance. We certainly want to welcome those people as well. So.
And it's November 8th?
Tuesday, November 8th, 7:30 in the evening.
Run for a couple of hours?
And it'll go for a couple of hours, yeah. There's a bit of a formal, structured part, as Hugh mentioned, and then unstructured networking for people to talk to whomever they would like to.
And do they get to pop the balloons at the end of the night?
We'll consider
We'll
that.
see that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, great.
Supply the pins, though.
Yes.
Okay?
Bring your own pin.
Bring your own pin.
Bring your
Okay,
own
there you
pin.
go.
networkingtoronto.eventbrite.com. And Paulina, what's your, maybe you want to give out your company website for
It's
people?
www.southern-exposure.ca.
Okay, great.
Everybody can bring their own pin and then exchange pins.
Well, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Exchange information, exchange pens.
Colored pins.
Yeah, exactly.
Red means entrepreneur,
yeah.
blue means freelancer.
And if somebody brings a great big donkey poster, you know what's going to happen then. Okay, and Neil, what's your website for your business?
Sure, well? It's moneylifeskills with an S, .com.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Anything else? Or is that, did we cover it all there, Neil? Anything else? moneylifeskills.com.
I think we covered it all.
Fantastic. Well, look
Thanks,
forward to the
guys.
event. It was a lot of fun the last time, and I'm sure it will be this time. And congratulations on
Look
the 2-year
forward to having
anniversary.
you both there.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, let's take a little break there,
Okay.
Sandra.
There's a fly going around, and I have to. There, see,
Yeah.
there it is again, and it's making me go buggy-eyed.
Let's capture it and release it to the wild.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, we're going to come back with Alicia Pereira right after this as Liquid Lunch continues.
Calling Jane, Jane, calling Jane, Jane. Hombre to Nanda, Durgan, Jane, Jane. Durgan, Jane, Jane, Durgan, Jane, Jane. Hombre to Nanda, Parvati, Jane, Jane. Parvati, Jane, Jane. Parvati, Jane, Jane. Hombre to Nanda, wearing you thin. You know, your jokes worn like an overcoat and never ever letting anybody get in. But I wanna see you in your skin. Why don't you take it off and let the world get it in? Now, sometimes I hide my malcontention and just flash you the reflection of what you wanna see. I guess the fear of hearing disagreement is something that I let cling on to me. But naked in my skin is where I like to be. So I'm taking it off. You wanna strip it down with me? And we all think we've got something to hide. Stripping it down to the inside. Strip it down, strip it down. Well, it's contamination in our communication that leads to the creation of the symptoms we feel. And then we all get fat on a heavy sense of lack and a bunch of shit we don't need. But naked in our skin is where I'd like to meet. So let's take it off and let the world see. And we all think we got something to hide. Stripping it down to the inside. I'll strip it down, strip it down. Oh, embrace your face, embrace your heart. Retrace the place from which all of this started and have the faith to be who you are. Strip it, strip a little farther, strip a little bit farther down. And we all think we've got something to hide. Stripping it down to the inside. Well, we all think we've got something to hide. Stripping it down to the inside. Strip it all, strip it down. Well, everybody's got a story they tell, and everybody's gotta do it in their own way. But words have the power to create and to devour. So please be careful of what you say. Be careful what you say. If life's a magic mirror, then my quest is to see clearer. Wipe the dust from my mind and my tongue. Transcending through the violence, I seek solace in the silence from which all things have come. And as this new year approaches, let's soften our focus and glow the periphery. Recognize our voices unexpressed. Responsibility. Yeah, yeah. Responsibility. Yeah, yeah. Well, vibrations are rising. Can our systems be aligning as we soar into the center of the eye? Polarities dissolving, I take personal resolve that says I'm gonna try to embrace this change. I may break, but I won't hesitate simply to accept my fate and trust in that which is innate, not to dominate it. I'm not gonna speak in hate, just to resonate and emanate this grace. And as this new year approaches, let's soften our focus to glue the periphery. Recognize our voice as an expression of choice in a greater reality, and say responsibility. More than just ideas, longing to live here soon and do actually here, longing to hold one like a flower opens onto the sun. Hey, and we all running, one.
All right, we're back on the show here, talking about Hazel, because Alicia Pereira is here, and she works in Mississauga at World Vision. And we're talking today about the child sponsorship thing, but your office is right at the 401 in here, Ontario.
It's a fun place to be. It's a great office.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. And we were just talking about the Marilyn Monroe building. I don't know why you have to do this.
Yeah, always have to.
It's necessary with the shape
looks like
of the
Marilyn
building.
Monroe.
That's right. Yeah.
Right?
You know, when we think of Marilyn, we think of Marilyn.
Curves.
Yeah.
Yes, we think of curves. That's right.
Yeah.
It's developing really well. It's a good area to be in for sure.
Yeah, and what was Sandra was saying? It's all Hazel's doing.
Yes,
Hazel
McCallum.
The McCallion.
McCallion.
She's a hellion. Hazel McCallion.
She is a force to reckon. I met her.
Did you?
And she is a force to reckon with.
I-
that
I-
girl. Wow.
I played on the same stage with her one time because our band was playing a cancer fundraiser.
I'm sure she can rock out.
I'll tell you.
Oh, she plays hockey still.
Let me tell you what happened. So it was a cancer fundraiser in Mississauga. So we're just getting ready on stage, and all of a sudden, guess who shows up? Right at that moment is Hazel, and she came on the song, and somebody said, "Hey, Hazel, why don't you do a song with these guys?" And so we said, you know,
She'll try anything.
She goes, "Do you know that song, Sunshine, My Only Sunshine?"
Yes.
Right? And so we were trying to like figure it out right on the spot, right? Because we don't, we know the song, but we've never played.
Wow.
It's like, so we're all trying to figure it out, what key we should play it in, and so I said to her, "Hazel, what key do you want to do?" And she goes, "Just play the damn song."
She's a take charge kind of lady.
Oh,
Yeah.
I saw her give a speech for some conservation park, and she was amazing. She had the crowd up and so motivated.
Yeah.
She is 3'0".
She's wonderful.
She is
Yep.
this tall, but she is so powerful. One
Force
of
to
the
be
most.
reckoned with, for
Oh,
sure.
she is.
She's actually a child sponsor. She's an advocate for World Vision, which is great. We love Hazel.
What a fantastic segue.
It's a great,
That's
great
marketing.
segue back
Obviously, you're in marketing. You have to be in marketing.
Well, she's the communications, one of the communications officers, communications marketing, right?
communications officers for World Vision Canada, and we have a great team, from advocacy to marketing comms, to obviously emergency communications, and we all work
And hang out with politicians.
and hang out. Well, not so much hang out with politicians, but we definitely, we can hang out with the best of them. Our department, we're pretty good that way.
Really? Do you guys have fun down
We
there?
do. We're a fun department.
Yeah?
Yep.
Now, do you live in Mississauga too?
I don't live in Mississauga.
You probably live in Scarborough, right?
I take the long commute, but you know what I will say? When you enjoy what you do and when you love what you do, the drive from Markham to Mississauga isn't as bad.
You know,
I will say that.
My friend lives in far west Mississauga,
Yeah.
and his wife commutes to like Scarborough because she works at TSN. And it's like, you guys should just trade jobs.
I know where the TSN building is. Yeah, it's right off the 401.
Probably
Channel
5
9.
minutes away from where you live, right?
About.
A little more. Yeah.
Sadly, about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. So anyway, Alicia, great to have you on the show today. And so let's talk about this child sponsorship that World Vision is doing. Tell us, why should people do this? What are you guys doing? You're achieving something. You're helping people. Tell us about that and how people can participate.
Right. So what World Vision does is we work with communities, women, children, and we just try to help them to have a sustainable future. So the purpose is not to go in and basically say, here's a bunch of money, because that's great. But at the same time, if you work with the communities and you say, what do you guys need help with? And World Vision works with a community with an ADP, which is an area development project. So it's a community for 15 years. So the goal is you go in there, you meet with some of the community members and the leaders, and you get an idea of what they need to be sustainable and to have a good, stable future. And then during the course of those 15 years, World Vision has so many different programs. So we have things like, obviously child sponsorship is, kind of the number one thing in terms of getting kids education. In some cases, kids have to walk 6 miles a day in order to get clean drinking water, and they can't go to school, right? Because they need to help out with their family. And World Vision, through the child sponsorship program, can ensure, that they aren't necessarily missing school, like school's a priority, because that's what they need to be able to break the cycle of poverty. So, obviously child sponsorship is so important. There's so many other exciting programs that World Vision does. I was recently in Peru, and one of the programs that they do in one specific ADP is they have a jewelry program. So they actually work with the women in the community, and they've created this, they've taught them how to make jewelry like necklaces and earrings and bracelets, and they've taught them about budgeting, about balancing books, everything to build a sustainable business. And now these ladies, they are selling their jewelry, they're making income off of it, and they're sustainable. So now we don't, at the end of the 15 years or at the end of this program, we can take a step back and say, you guys are empowered to be able to now go on and teach the rest of your community, about World Vision and what we're doing, but also just to empower them and for them to know, you can do it. This isn't necessarily just a handout. It's us helping them up when they need it the most,
So it's like, don't give them the fish, teach them how to fish.
Exactly. If you give people the tools, and this is anything in life, right? If you give people the tools to be successful in their future, then that's all you can ask for, right? Like that's all you can want for your kids or your nephews or your nieces or anything like that. So it's so great to be a part of that, and we're so thrilled with our child sponsorship program. But we also have, I bought you guys some of these, our gift catalogs. You can.
No, those are gift catalogs for the people you're helping, right?
Yeah. All the things go towards the people, but it's great Christmas gifts. You can give a goat in the name of your mom.
So let's talk about the goat, because we had Carolyn Riseborough on yesterday,
yes,
and she was talking about the goat. And it's, I don't know, it's somehow the goat seems like it's a very popular gift. Let's talk about the goat.
The goat and the chickens are quite popular, I believe, but it's because what World Vision does is, so everything's locally sourced, right? So it's not like you're shipping any goats anywhere. It's all locally sourced, so we are environmentally friendly. And we'll make sure that when we give a family a goat, say if there's a male goat and a female goat, right? We'll encourage them, once these goats, have babies, to give it to one of their neighbors.
The child goat.
Yeah, exactly. So this way, you're building everybody up, right? You're giving everyone a chance to be able to have, a good opportunity to be able to have like milk and meat and things like that.
What are the goats good for?
Well, the goats are good. I know what you're thinking.
Am I? I don't even know what I'm...
You had that look. What are the goats good for?
Well, no, I'm serious, like, because people say, well, goat. But a goat provides milk, right?
Right.
Cheese,
And meat, right?
Meat. Sometimes it helps them move things. Like we were recently in Africa, and people were using their goats. I mean, because especially with the famine, right? Like people were using their animals to help them move, closer to be able to find new housing and stuff like that. So they also help families in terms of like moving things, but also they help them for anything from milk and cheese and stuff like that to also meat, which is good.
Right. Plus they eat the grass, so you don't have to use your lawnmower.
Yeah. I don't necessarily know if they have lawnmowers.
No, I know, but
however,
see, I've been trying to...
They could become lawnmowers,
See,
right?
I'm trying to convince my
grass.
dad to get a goat instead. Just fence it in and let the goat do its
Through
thing. You'll
World
never
Vision
have to
or
cut the...
Here.
You'd have to locally source it.
You'd have to locally source it.
Yeah, a local goat.
The neighbors might complain.
I know.
You know what you can tell your dad? You can give your dad this book and tell him if he really is interested in a goat, give a goat in your name to a family that really needs it.
That's great. And the chickens, too.
The chickens are wonderful. There's so many different things. We have chickens, we have pigs.
No, but you know what's so good about
cute.
this? The pigs are cute?
They're
Oh
so
my
cute. Look
God.
at the pictures.
They're cute
Look
now.
at how cute that...
See, look at that
Yeah.
sheep.
Okay, wait a second. No,
Wait till
wrong one.
slaughter day.
Yeah,
Oh,
see,
no.
that's not the cool thing, right? We don't have to talk about that.
No.
There's cows. There's
Okay,
Ducks.
so
there's
I see ducks.
Yeah, see that
No,
picture
but
right there.
see, the thing about this that I like
there's
is that
toys.
when we look at the history of Western helping of underdeveloped nations or whatever, I mean, there's a pretty lousy track record there of Westerners going in there and thinking we know best, and
Right.
doing things that in the long run end
Sure.
up hurting everybody.
Sure.
Right? But this is like you are understand what's needed at the ground level there and working with the local
Right.
situation.
See, that's a good thing about what World Vision does in terms of working with the community to assess their needs and to figure out what exactly it is they need. So in these ADPs, I mean, the people, the staff that work in these area development projects, they are, bar none, they're amazing. They are amazing people. Because they want to work with the communities, they will have to move into that community. So they will give up, in most cases, a life that they are probably very happy with in order to do what they love to do and help people, And when you see these people interact with these communities, when I was in Peru, all the kids would come up and hug the ADP staff, everywhere we went, they knew everyone by name. It's an amazing relationship that they have, and it's a great story in and of itself. So they go through a lot to be able to do what they need to do with these ADP staff, with the people who work and live within the ADPs. But also, it's just amazing to be able to see those relationships grow as the kids grow too.
Have you had a chance to go to any of these locations and
Yes.
work with the local people there?
Yes.
Where did you go?
I recently was in Peru,
Yeah.
and we have something called the Life Change Network.
Yeah.
And what that is basically a group of volunteers who are sponsors who go in and they see the work that World Vision does, and they meet their sponsor children, which is such a good experience to be able to kind of be a part of, to just see these kids be like, oh, you're the person who wrote me all these letters. You're the person who sent me all these pictures. That's probably my favorite experience.
What? A lot of people, I do know people who sponsor children, and they get letters, like you said, and a lot of them really question whether or not it's really from them. So to actually hear that actually people actually get to go meet some of them, it just makes it that much more real, and so you feel like, okay, this is worth it.
For sure. And, every single time a sponsor will send a letter, it will obviously go to the ADP staff, and they make sure that every single child gets that letter. So every single picture that you send to your sponsored child, they will make sure that if you send them stickers or, they will make sure that your sponsored child gets that. And additionally, when your sponsored child writes you, so how we were talking about before, you'll get something in the mail, you'll get an update on them, on how they're doing in school, or just an updated picture. Our staff that works with the kids in those areas, they are always doing routine visits. So to make sure that you have up-to-date pictures, because of course we do understand that that is a concern that people may have. And so we make sure that our staff is always on top of it, and they're always making sure that the kids are well, they're healthy. That's the top priority. Their health is the top priority for us. So that they're always taking pictures and that they're sending it, and they're also sending just updates on the kids, what they're doing. And also the kids love to be engaged, right? The kids love to draw pictures for their sponsored families, and especially if there's children that are the same age, to be able to interact. Like, I know my nephew is 4 years old, and my cousin and his wife bought them all these coloring books for them to start to send pictures over to their sponsored child in, I believe it was Ethiopia. And so now they all write each other, which is great because it gets the kids so involved, So it's wonderful.
It just, it seems that the world seems to be getting smaller, right? In the old days, it was like that was a problem that was so far away over there on the other side of the world. And now it's almost like, it's really, at some point, it's possible for all those kids to connect in person with all the sponsors. And who knows what it'll be like in a few years when everybody's got the internet,
Sure. It really is becoming a very global community, in a sense. And I say that, right now we're doing an Ottawa campaign, and then right after the Ottawa campaign in November, we're doing a unified campaign. So we're just telling people to...
What does that mean? We're going to help?
Well, we're basically bringing awareness. So we're basically telling people to be the difference, get involved. And something that just sparked my mind, just reminded me when you were talking, what we do, a really cool thing that we're actually doing is we go in and we work with, it's called a photography exhibit. So we work in with these kids in, let's say, the Philippines, for the argument's sake of this Ottawa campaign that we're doing right now. We'll work with kids in one classroom in the Philippines, and then we get them to answer 3 questions through pictures. So what's your favorite possession, your favorite place, and what do you want to show the world? And that's pretty powerful stuff for, sometimes a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kid, right? So what we do is we bring those pictures back and we pair up with a local school, the same age group of kids, and we ask them the exact same 3 questions. And to see the work that these kids do is amazing, because you'll have a kid saying, my favorite place is my school, right, in the Philippines or in Uganda or in Ethiopia. And then you'll have a kid in Toronto or in Ottawa or Vancouver saying, my favorite place is my school, and they both take a picture, and then you bring it together and you see the differences in the school. But the fundamental of it is, the basis of it is the same, right? Each kid, the thing that they value the most is education, is school. So it's really powerful for a 7-year-old kid to be able to see that.
Wow.
Wow, for sure.
Yeah. Are you seeing an increase in the whole involvement between, are your numbers going up, or are they going down? Because we're in tough times too.
Right.
So are you encouraged or discouraged?
Well, I think whenever there's children that need help in the world, we're always encouraged. Canadians are amazing in terms of being donors for us. And so that's always encouraging. People want to be involved, and whenever I meet another volunteer and listen to their story about, whether it's them with their sponsored child or just some type of interaction that they had, it's always encouraging to me. Yes, we are going through tough economic times, but the human spirit is resilient, and people always want to get involved, and they always want to help out no matter what. And I just tell people, if we were in that position, wouldn't we want help? Right? Wouldn't we want, if you were reaching your hand up, wouldn't you hope that somebody would grab that hand and say, all right, I'll help you, I'll help you out while you need it. I'll give
Especially
you a leg
through no
to
fault
stand
of
on.
their own too, just by virtue of where they were born.
Exactly.
Kind of thing, right?
Exactly. We're so fortunate here in Canada, and I'm so thankful that Canadians are so blessed to be able to give, $35, $40 a month. And we just ask them that like I was saying, be the difference and just be able to continue. Kids need our help, and especially in Africa, all over the world, but especially right now in Africa. And we do know the kids in our sponsorship program who are within Africa, especially in the Horn, they're stable right now. Like they're okay, and they are going through tough times, but so we know that sponsorship brings stability through that. So we just encourage people to continue to give, because we need to be able to help people when they're in their darkest moments, and also to just be able to give people a chance at life, to be able to give them a chance at a future.
Because a chance that our kids have, basically.
Exactly. Wouldn't you want the same for your own kids, right?
Well, don't take this the wrong way, but I'll look to the day where World Vision is not needed anymore.
Right.
Where we don't even have to have sponsored
And you know
children.
what? That's the goal. That's the goal, to be able to have, for there to be no kids who need our help.
No child left behind, right?
No child left behind, right? Yeah. That would be a happy day. Happy day for all of us.
All right. Well, this is everybody's opportunity to help take one step closer to that ultimate goal, because people can participate and they can start helping right today, right? How
they can help today. They can go to www.worldvision.ca and they can get involved. They can learn more about the work we do. They can learn about, if they're interested in sponsoring a child, about the gift catalog, about our 30-hour famine. If they want to volunteer, they can do that.
30-hour famine.
Yeah.
30-hour famine. So if you want to give up food for 30 hours.
You need to do that after Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Totally.
probably...
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
And just before summer.
Yeah, before bathing suit season.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always a good
I'll
incentive.
challenge you to do that then.
Really?
Yeah, maybe I'll come back and I'll challenge you to do that.
Okay.
Not the bathing suit thing, but the 30-hour famine.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Good. Deal.
Sounds,
all right.
Yeah, and it's great. Like you said, the gift catalog, it's Christmas. Before you know it, it's going to be December, and it's perfect. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Absolutely.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah.
Okay, Alicia, thanks for coming
Thanks,
in today
Alicia.
Thanks for
and
having
telling
me.
us about this.
And thank you for your passion.
Oh, you are welcome.
It's great. It's great. You obviously love what you do. You're inspired,
do.
you're motivated. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
It's contagious.
It's always great when you love what you do, and
Yeah.
I do.
Fantastic. Okay. So, worldvision.ca, that's where people can get started, right?
They can.
Okay. Thanks, Alicia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Sandra,
Hugh.
I think that's it for the
That
show.
was ominous.
Ominous.
Yeah. It's almost like you're going to...
I don't want to get into why, but yes.
Are
it
you
was
going to
a li-
shapeshift in front of me?
No.
Oh, okay.
Had enough human blood to drink today. So,
Okay,
But
okay.
we are going to now. We have. We were talking at the beginning of the show, right?
Yep.
About Drunvalo Melchizedek, who is whose doppelganger is visiting us, who is pouring the water.
I swear there's somebody in the studio who looks just like him. Honest to God.
But we have found evidence that the real Drunvalo Melchizedek is a reptilian alien shapeshifting hybrid.
That I have to see.
Not true.
And that's
He's alive and well
Uh-oh.
in Sedona.
so. Do you know him personally? But we have proof, though, Mitchell. We're going to talk about that after. But we do have proof.
Proof?
If I see it on YouTube, I know it's true.
It's got to be
right?
true. It's got to be true.
So this is apparently. We don't even know what this is going to
If
be.
you're
This could
accused
surprise
of being
all
a
of us.
shapeshifter, you know you've made it. No, you know you've
See,
made it.
that was a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. George
true.
Bush is a shapeshifter.
Absolutely. Clinton.
Hillary,
Yeah.
Tony Blair.
I think they even say Obama, too, right?
Although I haven't seen his eyes narrow to slits, so I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, that's it for the show, everybody. What? What? Why not? Not connected? That's discouraging. Anyways, okay, we're going to wrap the show up. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow at noon for more Liquid Lunch right here on thatchannel.com.
Have a great day.
Well, my heart is flooded, it busted right in front of you. My mind is racing with all the things I wanna do. Feel like I might be going crazy. I keep skipping time like I need to make you mine. Impatient in uncertainty and fueled by insecurities. So I step back and I breathe. And then I pray for the guidance of grace. And I pray for love. I pray for the guidance of grace. And I pray for love, 'cause you gotta pray for love. Just kiss your hips, kiss your knees and your fingertips. Hold those magic words in a sacred chest behind my lips. 'Cause I know you felt it too. And thank you for the electricity, spirit bringing you to me. Magic nights showing me a light. And I trust what will be. Then I pray for the guidance of grace. And I pray for love. I pray for the guidance of grace. And so now my heart is flooded, I'll pour it right in front of you. I'm letting go of all the things I think that I'm supposed to do. Riding the waves that I create, find myself crashing on the rocks. Wasting away, spending my days immersed in all these self-detrimental thoughts. But the world revolves in the infinity of take my place. Thy will be done. Oh, thy will be done. Thy will be done. Oh, thy will be done. And when she calls on you, please don't shy away, 'cause she'll hold